This week's Q&A is about eggs, and the question is there anything you need to know to buy in eggs? So, raw eggs, whether they're white eggs or brown eggs that are still in their shell, they're fine, they're kosher, even if the package says there's some kind of special health benefit, like it has high omega-3 or something like that, or it says that the eggs are pasteurized, those are fine, not a problem. Now, but that's only true if a person is buying a regular egg, which are assumed to come from kosher chickens, which are kosher. But that is not true if you're buying eggs from duck eggs or quail or some other bird, and that's because we only use birds or their eggs when we have a Masorah, a tradition that bird is kosher. There are certain breeds of duck and quail that we have a Masorah for, that we know that they're kosher, but other ones we do not, and therefore you should not buy eggs from birds other than regular chicken eggs unless you know that it has a Masorah or it has a hashkacha on it, which means that the hashkacha is making sure that it's coming from a breed that we have a Masorah for. Now, once you crack the egg, then you should check it for blood spots. And the minhag is, the common practice is, that if you find a blood spot, then you throw out that entire egg. What happens if you don't realize it, so you mix it with the other food, then you need to ask a shayla, call your rabbi. Now, that's true for all eggs, but brown eggs have something else in them which are called protein spots. They're not regular blood spots. And the way you can tell the difference is that our blood spots are red, they're symmetrical, and they tend to be on the yolk, and those are the ones that we try to get rid of. But protein spots, which tend to be in brown eggs, are actually they're pieces of egg white, which have absorbed pigment that leak through from the shell. So instead of being red, they tend to be brown. And instead of being symmetrical, they tend to be asymmetrical. And they're always in the white part of the egg. So protein spots are not usher. If brown eggs have blood spots, then they are usher. But protein spots are not. Another thing is that when I mentioned that a person can buy eggs that are whole, whole raw eggs, that means is when they're still in the shell. But eggs that are liquid or powdered or cooked or otherwise processed needs hashkacha. That makes sure the additives and the ingredients and the equipment are all kosher. And that's what a person would have to do if they were buying something that's not a whole egg in the shell. Now, I said a second ago that you need to check your eggs for blood spots. Now, does a mashgiach actually check liquid eggs? You buy liquid eggs ready to use? And the answer is no, they do not. The egg companies use a procedure called candling, which is a way of shining a bright light through the eggs to see if they have blood spots in them. And they remove any blood spots that they notice, but there's no Shomer Shabbos person watching it. That, of course, raises a question. Well, why is that allowed? There is an answer to that question. A little too complicated for this, so not beyond the scope of what we're doing today. But that is something that's discussed, and it is acceptable to buy the eggs, even though it's not a Shomer Shabbos person checking all them for blood spots. One last thing is that the Gemara says that a person should not leave eggs that are peeled or cracked overnight, and except under very specific conditions. But basically, you're not allowed to do that. Now, some people follow the Gemara exactly as it says. So they won't leave a peeled egg overnight, and they won't buy liquid eggs, because liquid eggs are obviously, they've been cracked, the eggs have been cracked, and they won't leave them over, they won't buy them. Other people go the complete opposite extreme, and they say, this Gemara is not brought in Shulchan Aruch, and therefore, obviously, Shulchan Aruch is saying that we don't have to worry about this nowadays. And then there are a lot of in-between approaches, okay? And that is, like, some people will allow liquid eggs or peeled eggs if other ingredients are added. And there's different opinions even within that. Of what exactly do you have to add on to make it say this is not just plain eggs? And in Igros Moshe, he says that what the Gemara is talking about specifically for a home setting, like if I make a hard-boiled egg today and I peel it and then I leave it overnight, that's what I'm not allowed to do. But something that's made commercially, he says is not included in this, and it's okay to use it. And many hashkachas follow that ruling. But people individually could either trust hashkacha, or they should, maybe even better yet, is talk to their rabbi to find out which way they should practice as far as this question goes.